So hey, today I'm gonna show you something that's running on my DOS PC that you might find somewhat surprising. As you know, or might know, in 2014, Jeffrey Lim made the Impulse Tracker code base open source. So that meant that anyone who's well versed in assembly language or assembler is going to be able to make modifications to Impulse Tracker. Now, nothing of the sort happened, as far as I understand. There's a lot of forks of it, but nobody's really done any original work for it. Now, as you know, I've been writing a lot of features into Renoise, into my tool Paketti, and eventually something happened. Well, a bunch of things happened. I started wondering, could I make Z-Tracker work on macOS? Z-Tracker, as you might know, is a MIDI-only Impulse Tracker clone. So the only thing that it does is it has MIDI out and MIDI in, and you can use it to control your synthesizers in the old Impulse Tracker way. It was created by Chris Micali ages and ages ago. I remember using it in 2002, 2003. It was pretty amazing. I remember plugging it so that Z-Tracker MIDI out would go into Logic, and I remember preparing some of the WAV files, basically creating sequences with Z-Tracker, controlling Logic on the PC, and then writing those things that came out, basically disk writing the output of Logic to WAV files in order to prepare for a live gig. I also in Ireland remember using Z-Tracker heavily in 2025, especially for my rack synths and stuff that I have over there that you can't see, but eventually I'm gonna have this studio set up in such a way that you can actually see these tools and these rack synths and stuff, and you can see how I'm using them. But yeah, so I started modifying Z-Tracker. Then it occurred to me that if it's this easy to make Z-Tracker work on macOS, Linux, and Windows in 2026, maybe I should give it a go and see if Impulse Tracker could be modified. And turns out it can be. And what's really interesting is that, this setup that I have right here, what you see on this computer, on this Mac, it can be, and let's see if I know how to set this up, it can be made to talk to this setup over here. And this is an XP32-bit machine that I have running, and it's running Logic 5.5.1, the last Logic that came out in 2003 up until Apple bought it and discontinued the Windows PC Logic. This is still like my nearest and dearest machine, but this is actually like I've got an iPhone looking at this screen, but what I do have is I've got all of these machines networked together. So this macOS right here that's displaying this iPhone camera is networked to the XP. So if I make a modification on the Mac to an app that's running on my XP32-bit, I can just run it. I can even spawn it from the Mac. I can go like here, take this. But that's not all, because originally a few years ago I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to make it so that, because I have an additional machine that was sent to me 20 years ago by a very friendly person in the Netherlands. He actually donated to me a DOS PC that was capable of running Impulse Tracker, because I had been yammering on and on the lackluster.org site about how I really needed to get back to having a DOS PC, how I needed an Impulse Tracker, but I was stuck having a laptop that wasn't able to boot into DOS. So he sent me a computer, stacked side by side. Yeah, let's see, like that. And of course, stacked side by side. There we go. Well, I mean, I might as well stack these. Let's see if I can just stack it side by side like that. Now I need to go by first serve first. There we go. And then I do this, and then I stack them. So on the left, I got this DOS PC. On the right, I got this Logic. These are networked together. So this drive that you're seeing here on the E is purely, it's a network drive that the XP has access to. So this obviously means that I'm able to build Impulse Tracker on my Mac and then deploy through this PC to this PC. And if you look very closely, you'll see ITNU 2026, so ITNU 2026. So if I boot this up right now, you'll see that, you know, here's my 2026 version of Impulse Tracker. Now, this introduces a few things that I think are pretty cool. Sorry about not capturing the video properly. I don't have like VGA to HDMI converters or anything like that, so that I could just stream this. I've got a iPhone there that's sharing this. So the idea here is that I'm gonna go and walk you through some of the features that I've written into Impulse Tracker. Now, this is my private fork. The Jeffrey Lim's repository doesn't accept changes except to fix bugs, but these are like new features that I'm adding myself. Mostly inspired by what I was able to do with Z-Tracker, and more to the point what I was able to do originally for the past 15 years with Paketti for renoise. So I'm gonna describe to you quickly what I wish worked differently with Impulse Tracker. Now, for the longest time, I mean, I've been using Impulse Tracker since 1997. Scream Tracker 3 from 1994 onwards. For the longest time, it's worked in such a way that while it's easy for you to load samples and everything, if you got playback going on and you load a sample, during the loading of the sample, the playback actually stops. And like, that doesn't seem like such a big deal. Like, it's really easy to go, just press enter here and locate a sample, and there it is, and then you just track with it, and then you load another sample. It's really nice and everything. But when you're working with pattern-based music in a loop, to imagine that the minute you want to load a different sample, or even audition a sample here, and the playback stops. So, I mean, it's not a deal breaker, you can work around it, but when you're just jamming around and playing around with ideas, you really want to hear the pattern playing while you audition samples. So that was one of the first things that I changed with this. The second was I took something from Schism Tracker that I believe is brilliant in Schism Tracker. And I'm going to show it. And the way I'm going to show it is I'm just going to boot up Schism Tracker in its current state. So if I've got a song like this, all this pattern data here, what I can do is I can press Control O, and well, Control O. Oh, yeah. Control O will disk write the current pattern in full. And there it is. Like, and for Impulse Tracker, what you needed to do was you had separate drivers. You had the audio driver that you can hear, and then you needed to save the song, quit the app, load the Wave disk writer drivers into the app, load the sample, load the song, play the song, and then it would disk write it, and then you needed to quit it and reload Impulse Tracker, and then load the song, and then load the WAV file in. And I thought, gee, I don't know if assembly language is gonna let me hot swap drivers like that, but it turned out that after, I don't know, a day or two of fooling around with this using Claude, it was possible to make it happen. So suddenly my Impulse Tracker went from stopping playback whenever I wanted to load a sample to no longer stopping playback whenever I wanted to load a new sample, and being able to disk write stuff on the fly. And that resulted in me quickly writing this thing. I'm gonna point at it. Oh, well, yeah. I added a fourth row to there. It says quick save. So, wow, okay. Okay, you'll just have to believe that it's there, because I'm not gonna keep this keyboard moved like this, but it's there, quick save, and the E to logic is actually what you see here. So the E to logic is right here as a network drive, meaning that if I got something playing, like, I can just go here. And this is one of the additional things. In addition to Control O, I made it so that if I'm just in the order list and I press Shift right, it's gonna write it, and there it is. You can see it popped up right there. So this means, simply put, this. Here's something that I just tracked on the left, put onto the right, and I just made it here and moved it there by virtue of these being connected together by network drive. And this to me is pretty cool. Of course, the right, if I'm on here on the last third column number, whatever, and I just press, and I just say on this slot here, and I press right, it's gonna render the pattern to WAV, and it's gonna load it there into the first slot that's ready and available. So this again is something that just needs to be there, and that's why I've justified calling it 2.354, much like I have the 3.54 Paketti system and all that stuff. It's just my own personal brand, I guess. So as you can see, this means that if you got a network drive, network DOS PC drive running Impulse Tracker, that you can just drag it into any music making app. It could be Ableton Live or whatever. But this is like a really arcane system, because like DOS PC to a Windows 32-bit and then later to the macOS. So, and I'm not always here in this workspace. So it occurred to me that maybe I want to make these minor modifications also the Schism Tracker. And I think it would be cool to show it to you in a way. I think I'm gonna make another video about that, because I think the modules themselves, like the pieces that you can understand here, are that you got the Impulse Tracker here, you got the logic here, you got an interconnection between these, you can fully see without me having to explain that that something like that would be possible to do with Schism Tracker. I'm a little bit like I want to show you a few more things that I think would be cool to show with Impulse Tracker, but I'm running out of maybe steam, so I'm just gonna switch topics to Schism Tracker. So Schism Tracker, I made the same modifications. The Control O was here already. I made it so that if I got this track here and I can just go tuck, and now it's written to sample 5 and sample 6 and sample 7, and there it is. That's the content there. But and of course the same system that if I just press shift, it's gonna write it to the quick save place, and in that case it's so if I just do it like this, shift right, and then I look at it, I'm gonna see that the spoo arrives in there somewhere. August 14th, that's the one. So in essence, what I'm trying to portray to you, and once Ableton Live 12 boots up, is that the way I've set this up is that if I'm happy with what I'm hearing on a pattern, I can just make a throwaway gesture, which is shift and the right key on the order list, to be able to disk write it, and then it just appears. So let me just show it to you once, you know. There we go. So I'm in the projects here. I think I just made this, and if I now do the very same thing, if I just go like shift right, it says quick saved blah blah blah, and there it is. That's slightly quiet and all that, but this means that you can be mucking around with Schism Tracker as you like, and whatever you're playing, and here's the details of like of why this matters maybe, is that I can just play this stuff, and I think what I should maybe talk about is what I made with Impulse Tracker regards MIDI. So, because then I can show you how I replicated the very same thing elsewhere. So I'm gonna close this for a while. And close that for a while, and just focus on these. So, okay. Impulse Tracker isn't really, like, I remember ages ago when I got my first MIDI controller keyboard, I was able to record something when I used the IT MIDI driver. I was able to record content into the pattern by pressing keys. And it wasn't really fun because I wasn't hearing anything. Or maybe I was, I can't remember. But it wasn't what I was after. It wasn't what I really wanted. So, first and second of all, there was really no way for me to start Impulse Tracker playing from like a step sequencer. And I had a singular computer anyway, so it just wasn't. It wasn't a lot of things. It wasn't the kind of thing that I prefer to have running currently. And if you look at this, you'll see that there's Impulse Tracker 1 to 16. So I'm gonna quickly kind of tell you what I did. I made a modification to Impulse Tracker so that it can respond to MIDI. It can respond to MIDI sync, to MIDI transport, and there's a toggle multi-timbral. Ignore that it's kind of ignore that it's currently you know, going outside the bounds of the buttons. That's fine, you'll survive. But see, originally when I got this Logic and DOS PC thing working, what I was doing was I was patching the DOS PC audio into Logic and then recording it. And I thought, yeah, this is pretty cool. I wish I had this in 2001, 2002, 2003 when I got to using Logic. I wish I had had that back then. But it's not quite there. It still wasn't quite there. And what I really wanted to do was I wanted to have it so that if I've got if I got a pattern going on in Impulse Tracker here, I wanted it to be startable by Logic here. So if I would press play here, this would start playing. And I think I made it. Well, it helps if I press this right key. So there you go. You can see on here that the playback actually started. And if you look at this really carefully, you'll see that hold up, it's a little bit confusing with all this stuff, but I'm just gonna, well, now's a good time to show the other things that I've been doing for Impulse Tracker. So one of the things that I did was a copy from C64, Alexei Eben, Heatbeat CNCD, thanks for describing. This is a copy of a feature that he had in a C64 tracker. So like this. Wow. Okay. That's fun coding for you because it fully forgot. Okay. So I'll just great. Which I guess means that I need to restart this or at least look at it. But basically what I had was, and this works in Schism Tracker at least. So if I got an empty pattern here, I can just loop it like that. And this used to work, so let's see what it's explaining. Investigating before touching anything. The generate key map dump is the fastest authority. No, control down, shift control down. I never wanted there. Well, Alt R, Shift Alt R is fine, but control down, shift control down is what I also want in there. Do it, please. That's fun. Okay, so in essence, control that works, and but the idea here is, of course, that if I got something here, it will play here. And I can of course record it. I can just press record here on the transport and it'll record it, and that was pretty cool, and it's probably clipped. Yeah, it probably is. But anyway, what you just saw was me demoing that I'm able to patch these together, which is nothing to really phone home about, but it was cool for a while. It was really nice. Because what I really wanted to do was that, and I wanted to have it for ages, but then it kind of made me think like, yeah, I kind of want to just track, and then I want to have a way to play on top of it from Logic. And then it occurred to me that if I've got the Impulse Tracker reacting to MIDI sync start from Logic or from any sequencer, I might as well make it so that there's 16 channels that will trigger. I.e., I wanted to turn Impulse Tracker into a multi-timbral sampler. But the reason why I wanted it to happen was because for the longest time, and I'm going to show you how things used to be. So let me just, there we go. For the longest, for the longest time, the way you would load samples is you would go like, okay, here's something and wait. Here's something and here's something else, and maybe let's go into a module. Here's a Heatbeat module that has a sample. Let's load that in and let's go into another one. And it occurred to me that this is fine, like this is great. I've grown accustomed to it. I've grown accustomed to it in a really good way. Like it's great. I love Impulse Tracker. I love being able to load samples like this. I just love the workflow. It's awesome. But it just occurred to me that, you know, after spending so much time writing these quick loaders into Paketti to be able to load, say, 48 samples in one go, I just thought, can I do something like that? Can I, instead of going into a module like this here, can I go into a module, and instead of picking these, can I just load all of it? And this is where Shift Enter comes into play. When I'm in this load sample mode and I just press Shift Enter, it's gonna load all of that stuff in. So see what this lets me do. And then there and I don't know, like that, and now I've got 59 samples there. So maybe go to Radix, shout out to Jacob, and there it is. So now I got 99 samples loaded, and they might be anything. So when I got this kind of batch loading going, it occurred to me that, yeah, this is pretty cool, but I want to be able to trigger these simply put easily. And is it? There we go. So let's see if I toggle multi-timbral MIDI in. Multi-timbral MIDI in is now on. And then what would be a good demo? It would be really nice if this just worked. There you go. So I've got this selected. And the demo would be nothing if it actually worked. So let's see. Oh yeah, I think what's happening is, oh yeah, okay. So I forgot. I need to write this up. An additional thing. If I enable from Shift F5 the multi-timbral mode, and I am in samples mode, it should ask me, do you want to go to instrument mode, then enable it, then create the multi-timbral stuff, because that's how it should roll. Now, while this is fixing it, I'm just gonna enable it like that. I'm just gonna initialize them, and then I'm gonna go toggle multi-timbral mode, and then hopefully be able to do Okay, that's fun. Well, let's try that again. So that's 16 samples. I'm gonna flip correctly. There we go. Multi-timbral MIDI in. Oh yeah, was it shift? Yeah, this seems to want to flip. That's kind of annoying, but it really shouldn't. Maybe what I should do is I'm just gonna flip this like this and make it... Nope, that's not the icon that I'm looking for. Oh, there we go. There we go. Nope. Okay. It's always good to do a demo and then watch it all burn. Anyway, for someone like me, it's really cool that I'm able to even do this. But of course, being able to demo all of it in one go is even better. So let's... Okay, so you're gonna have to imagine how it used to work. Well, I mean, let me just... It's a bunch of samples. Toggle multi-timbral MIDI in. Then... Okay, that's slightly annoying. Anyway, to be able to do... To be able to do something like this and then know that it's possible to do something else. Now I'm gonna have to look at that and see why it doesn't work. But it does work, it used to work, so I'm just gonna keep troubleshooting it until I can do a proper demo of that. But you're just gonna have to imagine that I made it so that Impulse Tracker 1 to 16 channels can be used to trigger 16 samples in Impulse Tracker DOS PC Town, and then to route the sound into Logic or anything else. It's fun. I mean, it's kind of interesting. Let me just see. So that's MIDI in channel 1. So let's see that. MIDI channel 1. Oh, MIDI in channel, yeah. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, it's no big deal. It actually does work. So all I need to do is make the MIDI in channel actually talk to it. So that's fine. I can just tweak it. Well, I might as well. Listen, there's something going on with the multi-timbral initialize where it does not set the MIDI in channel accordingly. It should go 01 to the MIDI in channel 01, then instrument 615 to MIDI in channel 016. Can you troubleshoot this, because we definitely shipped this working and it just worked. I'm in the middle of a demo and it used to work, so I'm feeling a bit like I'm a total buffoon for showing something that I still need to do manually. It's fine to do it manually, but can you figure out what went wrong, please? So can you fix it? Thanks. Okay, so there's proof that it can work, and I just need to tweak it. Okay, so in this little demo, I've shown you that I'm able to make modifications to Impulse Tracker. I'm able to make the same modifications to Schism Tracker. Some of them are in Z Tracker, but okay, let me show you one more thing. So for the longest time, I've had it in Renoise. Let me boot it up like Renoise. It's gonna take a while for it to boot, I guess. Enough for me to take a drink. Some of this thirst is actually pure horror at demonstrating these things and then watching them fail, even though they used to work, which is wonderful. So for the longest time, I've had something in Renoise in Paketti that I really like. And that something is that if I load a sample, load like this, and then of course I don't hear it because it goes into MacBook speakers. There. So let's imagine that I've got something going on like maybe there. So I got this going on like that. And then I load a really nice sample log. And you know, I'm looking at the sample, maybe I've tweaked it a little bit, and I got the pattern playing, and I know what the pattern is, but now I need to go to F2, and then I need to make sure edit mode is on, and I need to make sure that follow pattern is on, and maybe playback is on, and all that stuff, but I'm already hearing it. So what I made is I just have the right shift key. Wherever I am, the right shift key is going to kick me to the pattern editor. So, I mean, I'm just going to demo it. So now I'm in the mixer. I'm in the pattern editor. Follow pattern is on. Edit mode is on. It's ready to be, you know, jumbled with. F3. Press right shift. There I am. It's following. If I'm here and I press it, I can turn it on and off. So So in essence, I could be jamming here. And then I could be. And this is actually a fun feature that I've had for a while. Trigger sample and pattern in. Yeah, okay. So I'm just gonna kill it. It's a better demo like that. It's a feature in Paketti, but yeah. So, I mean, it makes sense for it to be there. It doesn't cost me anything. It's really quick to get to that place. And these are the little tiny things that I have in Paketti, in addition to the really big things that really help me. So if I got something like here and I go, I don't know, what's this? Let's see if this actually, if I'm able to, wow, yeah, okay. Let's see if I'm just able to do, now why would it flip like that? There we go. There we go, that's the one that I want. So again, like, you're just gonna have to trust. The first modification that I made was if I press scroll lock, it's gonna go to the pattern editor no matter what. So I made it that, you know, if I'm here and I'm, wow. Okay, this has gone far enough. Yes, the iPhone mirror app is pretty good, but for some reason it keeps rotating the video even though there should be no. What's happening is that the iPhone X is delivering video and suddenly it flips vertically for no reason. It rotates and there should be no reason for that. I have enabled portrait lock or positioning lock on the iPhone, yet something in the iPhone mirror actually does it, so that's quite annoying to do in a demo. Please can you figure it out safely and soundly and then restart the current status of iPhone mirror with both running. Don't make it hard-coded, but just fix it. And there it is again. So it just, yeah. So I made it so that, you know, wherever I am, I can press scroll lock to get to the pattern editor, but I can press right to get, wow. Okay. So, I mean, in this case, and then right shift. This is actually a good way for me to show you this one feature. So as you saw, I resized the pattern from 128 to 64. And normally when you do something like that, this actually bleeds into another feature that I really want to show. When you start with an empty pattern and you resize it from 64 to 128, you're gonna have to pick it up yourself. You're gonna have to select the whole pattern and then copy it and go to the 64th row and then plug it in, basically paste it in to repeat it. No longer. I made it so that if you're in a 64 row pattern and you resize it to 192, what's gonna happen, and once this actually starts, well, I might as well show it here. So keep like that. There's 64 rows of this. I resize it to 192. Yes, you guessed it. I resize it to 192 and it just repeats the rest of the pattern. An additional thing that I made into Schism Tracker, yes, 512. Now, this is no longer a Impulse Tracker compatible song or whatever. I don't really care about, like, yes, you can have 256 rows. You can have 512 rows. And whatever you had in the 64 rows is going to be duplicated until you get to that point where the pattern no longer repeats. I mean, where the pattern ends. So So yeah, this is, and the reason why I did this was that for the longest time I've had to duplicate patterns in addition in order like long form envelope volume things with like long pads. I had to go from 64 rows to 128 rows or 192 rows in order to disk write them. But now it's just a case of me going like, well, let's resize this to 512 and let's kick out a sample. Let's kick out a sample like that. So, and here is where I want to talk about what the info page lets me do. Now, as far as I can understand, I feel like a lot of people who have used Impulse Tracker in live situations, they will have a song, I guess this song then, they will have a song and they will have it playing and they'll have it playing on the info page. And maybe they'll start with this and go like, okay. And when I made Control O global in both, Impulse Tracker and in Schism Tracker, it occurred to me that this page is actually the ideal place, because the first time that I did, like the first thing that I did was I made Control O available in Impulse Tracker on the pattern editor. Then I wanted it in sample list. Is it called the sample list? Then I wanted it in instrument list. Then I wanted it in the order list and panning. But only when I got into, because I had a gig last Saturday at Merihakamatkat in Helsinki. Shout out to Julius Valve for being so very gracious in allowing me to play. What I got was, and when I was practicing for it, it occurred to me that all these changes that I made for Impulse Tracker I wanted in Schism Tracker, but by virtue of me trying to practice for the gig, it occurred to me that I wanted something extra in Schism Tracker. I didn't want to be locked down to having to, having to only be able to practice for the gig when I'm at the workspace. But I did want to have access to Impulse Tracker. I did want to make these modifications into Impulse Tracker, old Impulse Tracker modules. I wanted to discover new things. I wanted to have a way of getting the samples from the module by just thinking about it. And when I say just thinking about it, that means that I just wanted to have a shortcut that would trigger it. And so I made those. And that led me to looking very soberly at the info page. And when I got to thinking about the info page, let's see if I can okay. Okay, so when I started thinking about the info page, I realized that this is where I'll be doing these things. I'll be playing and auditioning and figuring out that, yeah, this is what? Sorry. So this is where I want to be able to trigger these on and off. And as you can guess, if I made Control O global, I wanted the same logic of, press Shift right key on here to be able to disk write it. But I wanted it to work like in the best possible way. And I guess I'm gonna try and show it to you by just having by just having renoise on. So let me just projects, it's here somewhere. Then I go to projects IT, and then I'm here. So maybe Nope, that's not what I want out of life. One additional thing that I made also in the Schism Tracker is that when I boot it up, because I was making so many edits, when I boot it up, it loads the previous song and it starts playback of the previous song, which can be nice and everything. But how do I turn this from full screen to not toggle full screen? Okay, that's the one I want. So let's go to 0 and so I got a beat here, shift right, and it's quick save to wherever it is. Where is it quick saved? Oh, it's quick saved to there. Let me just hit that place. Oh yeah, and I made it so that it will have a timestamp on there. So let's continue. There we go. And to kind of drive in why this is kind of helpful, I'm just gonna go to 512 and then restart playback. So here. So now it's 512. There they are. I don't know when I disk wrote them, whatever. Just load them in. So they get longer, and that's when it gets fun. So like this to me is the fastest possible way I can think of to bring a tracker into using a left to right sequencer, be it Logic here or Ableton Live here, which I haven't even shown, but these are the little modifications, and I'm gonna keep cracking at this. This Schism Tracker is currently only my own fork because of AI slop rules. They don't want any AI slop in the repository. Cool. But I've got my own fork. I can do the modifications as I please. One of the additional things that I did was a headless system, so that I can just take a module and dump it into WAV files headlessly, and other such things. Oh yeah, one thing that I haven't shown you, and I might as well show it. So if I'm in this folder here, the spoo folder, and I'm here pressing play, and I press Shift Control right, IT samples dumped. So all of the samples that I had right there are now dumped into here. You know, they might not have the loops or whatever, but at least they're there. So again, like, maybe I want to load this into Ableton Live. Maybe I want to look at the patterns. Maybe I want to fool around with the timestamps. Maybe I want to do something with these. Maybe I don't, but at least it's there, and it's a feature that I can live with. Impulse Tracker DOS PC version also has this system, so I can load them into Logic or drag them into Battery or anything that I like. So in essence, I might as well try and show it. Let's see, 3, there we, okay, I need to, there we go. And let me load something. I don't know, what's this? And on this computer, I'll just show it that, you know, that's the place, and yeah, Yeah, that was fun. Well, it's not supposed to burst out like that, but you can see that the samples are there. And if I now hit battery 1, which is still what I like and what I want out of an iTown, I can just go like this and hope for the best. That makes a lot of sense. It's not, yeah, I need to fix that. The export all samples doesn't actually export anything reasonable. I just tried exporting and they were called SMP01 to SMP70. They were all fully distorted and unsigned or signed, so you are not saving the WAV file in Impulse Tracker. Please fix it up. So it's just an signed error. It's easy to fix. But anyway, the idea was, of course, that you can just go from here to here, and you know, once that's signed, unsigned, or WAV export or whatever has been properly done, it will work and it'll be really nice. So I mean, it's cool to be able to make modifications to Impulse Tracker and Schism Tracker, especially since I've been living with Impulse Tracker for close to, next year it's gonna be 3 decades. I mean, there's been days and months and even years when I haven't used it, but I mean, I started using it 29 years ago, so. So to have access to be able to modify it in the way that I want to be able to modify it is pretty cool. And so this is kind of what I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you that I made modifications into Impulse Tracker. I made modifications into Schism Tracker. I think these are good modifications. I think they help my workflow. They're open source on my GitHub. If you like how I'm thinking about these things, please consider becoming a GitHub sponsor, a Buy Me a Coffee sponsor, a Ko-fi sponsor, a PayPal.me sponsor, a Patreon sponsor. Please consider buying my stuff from Bandcamp, sending me crypto, doing anything that you think is sensible. If you got a Logitech MX518 mouse that you want to throw me that's in good nick or good condition, please get in touch. Leave a comment. If you got something that you've always thought that Impulse Tracker or Schism Tracker should have that's reasonable, get in touch. If you become a sponsor on Patreon and pay enough, you can actually schedule like a one-on-one call every month with me, depending on time zones, of course. I'm a family man. But I would love to talk if you're a tracker user. If you're not a tracker user, I would still love to talk. I'm available. I'm still looking for a job. I'll be cracking away at these techniques and these types of things as much as I can and as much as I can think of. Get sample. So the theory needs testing, not more reading. I can run the dump. Yeah. So you got to see battery 1, you got to see Impulse Tracker, you got to see really old apps, you got to see the workflows of what I'm doing, you got to see a bunch of things. Let's see if this is, yeah, it's not dropping any frames. It's gonna be interesting. But anyway, a lot of this is fed by me being booked for a gig or just thinking about it or working on a remix or coming up with stuff. I'm just constantly thinking about workflows, automation, connecting tools together. The next steps, of course, are to kind of display and tell you what Renoise and Ableton Live can be made to do together when it comes to file management. Oh yeah, and I got a thing that I should probably just show to you. So when I was preparing, let's boot up Ableton Live. When I was preparing for the gig, Merihakamatkat on the 8th of August, a few days before that, it occurred to me that when Ableton updated Live 8 to Live 9, they took out something that really mattered to me, at least. I'm gonna show it to you. Let's see if I can dig it out without any issues. Here's some posts. I think I'll go one post specifically that I want to show you. Here you go. I asked this question in 2015 and there is still no answer. The question was how to enable Live 9's clip envelope quick chooser like in Live 8. I'm gonna open this. Wow. Am I gonna open it? And I'm gonna, there we go. Okay. So Live 8 had this thing. They had a transpose, volume, and pan. You would hit these and you would be in the clip envelope view for transpose, volume, or pan. You wouldn't need to like pick it up yourself. I'm gonna show you how it was done before I made it in the way that I wanted. But in Live 9, they just removed it. There was still this empty space here, but it was removed, and now we're in Live 12 and we still don't have a quick way of getting into these. I mean, we do have a way, but it's not like you guys here at Ableton or there at Ableton. I've been using Ableton Live since 2002, so that's 24 years. I use it every time I play a gig, unless if it's like a gig where I don't use it or whatever. There's space here. There's envelope space here, but you made it so, and I'm gonna count the clicks. You made it so that instead of me going like, click here to transpose, one singular click, always visible, you made me menu dive. And I think Ableton Live, the name of it is Live. Live does not mean menu diving to me. It really doesn't mean menu diving to me. You guys, some of you know your synths, rack synths that have so much menu diving that you need to go to whatever menu page to get to editing something. But this is Live's version of menu diving. So I need to go to clip. And the reason why, like if I click here and I go back to this clip, then I'm in clip gain. If I want to get to transposition, I need to first select it. Like, I mean, let's do it like this. The minute I move this, it kicks me here. So now I need to go to clip, gain. So that was me focusing my mouse on here, clicking, moving my mouse, clicking again, that's 2 clicks. Then clicking again, that's 3rd click. Well, moving my mouse, clicking again, the 3rd click. Moving my mouse, clicking again, a 4th click to get to here. Compared to this, where I just click it. 1 click. You made it, you guys. You, who everyone uses for live gigs. Well, who most people use Ableton Live for live gigs, and if they don't, that's fine. But I mean, let's work under the assumption that you expect everyone to be using Ableton Live for live gigs, and that's the market you want to hit. You made it so that you need to move the mouse 3 times, click 4 times to get to gain. As opposed to having a button here that's just gain, gain, transpose, sample offset. I disagree with what you decided. Now, I don't hate you for it. You probably had a reason for it. I don't care. I don't have a push, so I don't know what's there. But what I wanted to do was to get to gain from wherever I am at, no matter what. I wanted to have a button. So I made the button. I had to burn copious amounts of tokens to make the button, but it works, and I'm quite happy with it. So I'm gonna demo it quickly. I'm gonna boot up. Let's try and find a beat so I can show all segments of it. So here, most of the time when you load a sample, it's in sample mode. Then you need to click envelopes, then you need to get there. And of course, like something like this will autofocus it, and something like this will autofocus it. And that's all right. Like, I mean, after I discovered that you can click on these and click on these, it's kind of all right. Like, it kind of deflates my point. But I had to discover that. I didn't know that it was there. It's probably demonstrated here. This slider well, I mean, it doesn't even bother saying that clicking on it will select it from the envelope, because whatever. So what I made, and I'm gonna show it to you. I made a few things: show gain, next envelope, previous envelope, switch transposition, sample offset, and toggle link. So I've got my mouse here, MX518, that I'm still looking for multiple copies of. The original one. I made it so that if I press a special key, there we go. So now I'm in the wrong place. I don't want to get to the gain, so I press a special button, and there I am. Now I'm in the right place. This should be native. This should be a shortcut. This should be like view whatever, and just find it there and go to that and get to that place. And then I made another one that goes to sample offset, and then I made logic that if I press the same key or same button, it's gonna go to transposition, so it's gonna go like that. Now there's a ugly kind of, it flashes, and you can see that these change, and this kind of modifies and changes. Like, it would be nice if this was just stable, as opposed to just like modifying like this. Like, this kind of visual clutter is not something that I want out of an app. But I can understand why you made it, but I would like for there to be a switch where you can turn it off. But anyway, so the idea, of course, is this. Yes, I've got Schism Tracker that will start playback, but so I've got gain off on everything, so I just go like, so let's just, there we go. So I'm viewing this. And then I do and maybe let's do another one, have it be quiet, and just do like something like this, and then just sample offset the hell out of it. So I wanted there to be a way to just really quickly to do that, and I've made that way. I made it in a few ways. I made it so that you can do something stupid like this, that you can just have. There we go. I'm just gonna mute it. So once this is selected, I can go like. So I'm gonna make this live clip envelopes. It uses Ableton OSC to do these things. I'm gonna make it available, and I'm still kind of looking at this because I'm wondering, like, why did they drop the ball so bad that extensions doesn't allow you to do this kind of control, and why can't you draw these things? So I mean, I'll let you in on a little secret. In February or March, some of their marketing guys got in touch with me, and they were like, "We got this system where we're gonna throw you €1,000 if you just spend like a month or something working on the extensions SDK, using it." And I was like, "Wow, sign me up! I am so ready for this. I want to be able to do SDK stuff. I want to be able to have extension stuff." And then they decided, no, we're not going to do any of that. We're just going to launch it. And well, that meant that I never really took a look at it until I needed this. I needed this specific thing, and extensions doesn't let me do it. But Ableton OSC by Idioforms. Ableton OSC, let's see. This thing lets me do it, and I've, you know, sometimes I've contributed to it a little bit. But the idea is that, you know, I can trigger these things with a MIDI mapping, a MIDI button, maybe a foot pedal or something like that. I can cycle through these really easily. If I had a mouse with additional keys, then I could do something else with that. But yeah, so I'm trying to, I have a gumroad about the live clip envelopes. I'm slowly readying it so that I'd be able to, you know, do the work. But this is also fun. I'm doing a lot of like really disparate and kind of disconnected things, but the underlying mechanism is me thinking about these tools and these systems and hoping for the best and trying to think like, how could I make these work in a better way? How could I make it quicker and faster and all that stuff? And I'm gonna keep doing it no matter if there's support or not. I know that there is, you know, thanks to everyone who's on the Patreon supporter list, thanks to everyone who's on the Bandcamp supporter list, thanks to all the donations I've been getting. Thank you for everything. It really helps this to be able to get feedback from people, to be able to talk with people, have scheduled one-on-ones, talk about features, talk about new ideas, displaying certain features. Like if I was doing this in a kind of a, if there was feedback from someone else, it would be pretty cool. But here's the tooling status as of today, 14th of August. And I'm gonna keep tooling, and I'm a tool builder, most humans are. But what I want to do is I want to specifically, I want to be building the tool that you cannot live without. Like a lot of people are building tools that you can live without. Everyone's building their custom tooling and all that. That's cool. I want to build a tool that you cannot live without. That you will be happily, that will be the first thing that you install because you need it. You can't live without it. And if I can make that tool for you, then that's awesome. That's amazing. And if you give me feedback on the tool, that's even better. But this is what I have to show right now. I've got more things cooking. I've been wanting to talk about this Impulse Tracker, Schism Tracker, Z Tracker thing for quite some time. I've been wanting to demonstrate this whole setup, like all of these and all of these, as much as I can. But now I finally set it up so that I got two phones that are able to capture these, and it's early days yet. I know people who live on Twitch or YouTube live streaming, they have their fancy cameras and everything. I was able to knock this kind of iPhone mirror setup together in a day. It took me far longer than it should have, but at least it's ready right now so that I can do it from now on. I'm gonna open source all of it. The Recburn, which I use to sample and record all of this, and the iPhone mirror. Recburn is already online. You can use it if you like. The iPhone mirror is is pretty neat, because you can, I think you can throw more phones at it, but I don't have enough ports. I only have 3 USB-C ports on this laptop, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do to be able to plug in more. And I don't have, you know, Gorilla Pod systems that I can put my phones into, and a webcam would be better anyway. I'm hoping to copy you, fella, P-H-A-E-L-E-H, or what? I've never spelled it out, so is it fella? Yeah, it's fella. He actually told me about a few cool tool things that I'm gonna be using or trying to acquire, because it would be cool to turn this whole room into something that you can automate, i.e. an automatable streamer room stream deck system where I can just flip the cameras and everything. Thanks for the ideas, fella. That was great. But you know, I'm only getting started. I'm constantly amazed at what's possible currently with agentic prompting. If you got the idea, you can get a kind of a facsimile or a copy of it going. Eventually I'm gonna need to figure out a way of paying for the prompting so that it can be, I can subsist on it, but the main thing is getting our family out of the ditch that I've built by becoming unemployed. So once that's sorted out, I can focus directly on tooling and only tooling, and then developing Paketti, Schism Tracker, Renoise, Ableton Live systems, whatever I can think of, and hopefully just getting it all off the ground and be able to subsist on it. Because I think, I mean, yeah, if I get a job tomorrow or today, I'm gonna jump at it, and then this will all be on the back burner. But if I can ramp up the support, people think that what I'm thinking about actually matters, then you're investing in a thinker who thinks about workflows, like a product thinker instead of a product owner or a product user. You're investing in a product thinker. And I'm not limited to any specific tool. I'm just trying to think, like, how could a bottleneck be identified and got rid of? So that's my pitch. I've given it probably repetitively during this video. I don't even know how long this is. That should be the next thing that I do with RecBurn, is I should just identify, like, when did I start the playback, and how long has it been running, and what time is it anyway, and all that. But it is what it is, and I hate that saying. But yeah, so that's me today. Thank you for your time.